Hi guys, Carolyn here from Diaries of a Business Owner, and today I am joined by the beautiful Yasmeen from Yasminne Cathy Interiors. Welcome, Yasmeen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here today. Now, Yasmeen is the very proud owner of Yasminne Cathy Interiors, and this has been established for the last year and a half. It is an interior design business, but Yasmeen's actually been an interior designer for 25 years. That's pretty impressive. So, Yasmeen, 25 years as an interior designer, and you decided a year and a half ago to venture out and go into business on your own.
Yep.
How's that experience been for
It's
you?
been really good. It's been a challenge, as any new adventure is, but it's been amazing. I've been really supported by incredible mentors, some in the industry, so builders and architects, and others that have just run really successful businesses around the world. So it's been good to have that support. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you touched on a very important thing about opening a business, having the ability to have mentors. It's really good. So, do you think you would have been able to venture out on your own without mentors?
I think you can. I've watched my father do that. He's a really inspiring man. He just followed the call that was placed on his life. But then I've also watched the friendships that he's got, and they are people that are in business that support him, and they do life well together. So I think you can always step out, but I think the right people come along at the right time.
I love that. So, speaking about the right time, what prompted you to go from working for somebody else, which I'm sure, gave you a sense of security and routine, into the unknown of opening your own business?
Well, my parents ran their own business for 30 years. So it was always around us. The dinner table was also the boardroom. So that sort of was in our blood anyway. But then my main thing was I really wanted to be able to influence people and help them transition well into their new chapter of life. And I find that sometimes when you're working in a creative industry, it's more about the brand rather than about the person. And I just wanted to make sure that they were cared for, they were loved, and that they were confident to step into their new season, whether it's designing a house, selling a home, purchasing a new property to live in, purchasing an Airbnb. It was about making sure that they had the confidence and the excitement. And you can always see it on their face because they get that light bulb moment and it's like chest up and I got my home, and you go, yeah, we did it right. And it's tailored to them, which is really special, their memories. And that's what I love about it, is being able to focus on the client.
That's amazing. So it sounds like your why was really encompassing the needs of the individual client and not being restricted by maybe a brand as such, but being able to work to their specifications.
Exactly, yeah. And every home is different too. Sometimes when you go to property stylists, they do a vanilla. It's, the same furniture in every home, regardless of whether it's mid-century, whether it's a Queenslander, whether it's a modern home. So you don't actually have any soul for the house. That's why we like in creating interiors with soul. So that way when you walk in, there's something unique and special. Not only does it sell off the page of realestate.com.au, it also helps people to feel something special when they work into a home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, based on being a little bit restricted, working for somebody else, that was the real driving force to open up your own business.
I think when I look at it, the key clients that stood out just before I opened my business, one was a client, beautiful client. She was moving overseas to support her parents, and she wasn't sure if it was the right decision. When we styled the home and tailored it to her story, but also opened it up for new buyers to fall in love with their space as well, she said, we made the right decision. And at that point, it was like, yep, that's right. That's what we do. That's why we do what we do. And to be able to help them have that moment of, yeah, we're okay. We're powering forward and going into a new season. So that was really special to me.
I love that. So obviously, going from working for somebody else for 23 and a half years to then deciding to embark on your own journey, what were the things that you learnt quite quickly about starting your own business?
Business, it's easy to build someone else's business, whether you're management or you're doing looking after building teams, that sort of thing. But to step out on your own, it's really about consistency. And I think unfortunately, the financial side of it as well, you really got to make sure that you're attuned and find the value within yourself, then be able to charge what you need to charge as well, so that people can continue experiencing a positive outcome, but so you can support yourself too. So that was a real challenge for me.
And so a year and a half in, do you feel like you've been able to implement that?
Yes, yeah, definitely. And it's being seen in the clients. They're happier with the projects because they're paying for more, which is kind of, you think it would be a little bit the reverse.
Yes.
But because they see value in it, then they get excited even more with the end project.
I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Excellent. So was there anything that happened when you started the business that you couldn't foresee happening? Any hurdles that you had to overcome?
Oh, there was some hurdles. I opened the business while my dad was with me.
Yes.
Unfortunately, life transitioned and he went to a better place. So that was a bit of an unusual thing that I didn't see coming, and trying to support a family and a business was a really interesting experience. So yeah, I think I've learned now how to do both well now. So yeah, but it's
Excellent.
definitely, you need to be in the right space to be able to start a business.
Yes. So when you talk about right space, is there any suggestions or advice that you would give to people to be mindful of before they do embark on their own business?
I think make sure you've got your designated space to be creative, and make sure that there's no outside influences on that. I think that's really important. And that just gives you that ability to service your clients well, do the work you need to do, rather than trying to fit everything all into one spot. So,
That's
yeah.
really good. So separate your personal life from your business life, have
Yeah.
those block out periods as well so you
Yeah.
can be creative. And I guess being in such a creative industry as well, do you find that you have certain times during the day that you're more creative, or you just go into that room when you're feeling the creative flair come on?
Generally find first thing in the morning, I'm really creative. And then if I do exercise, so after doing some Latin dancing,
Yes.
I come back, and an email that might have taken me 3 hours to write can happen in 20 minutes.
Yes.
The post that I need to create can happen in a couple of minutes. So I'm really thankful for the dancing community that I'm part of, because they definitely inspire, especially where I go to dancing. They have a real compassion for people. And it's all ages, all cultures, and just really special that way. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And look, you've touched on some really important points there. You know, one, have an allocated space where you do your work, especially if you're starting a business from home, so that it's the space where you can be creative, but also having that work-life balance, which some people sometimes struggle with when they own a small business. They invest all their time into the business that they forget that having those social aspects or having a bit more balance can actually make the business side of things a lot easier and flow a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about also creating that space that family knows it's okay to just focus on that business as well. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with being a year and a half in, what have been your biggest takeaways so far from being a business owner now?
To keep the vision forefront of every project that you do. Because that will align with the right customers, which will give you the right end results. And I think if you stay on point of why you've created the business, everything else fits in. And you go, yeah, this is aligned with it, or no, that needs to pass, and that's okay. And then you just keep going with what's correct. And that's something that I've had to learn over the year and a half. I've been blessed with having some good people in marketing and business development that have encouraged me to make sure I know who my target market is, make sure my branding's on point, those sorts of things. And I can see the difference that it's made.
Excellent. Well, you're really honing in to your market, and you're not wasting time with people that don't fit with your vision, as you said. It's very, very good advice.
Yes.
So speaking of advice, is there any advice that you would give to an interior designer that's maybe working for somebody else, or anybody in a creative space really, and they're thinking about venturing into their own business? What advice would you give to those people?
I'd say do it and see how you go. Make sure that you have a good support network. And also be aware that, especially being creatives, we love to adventure and do new things and all of that, but you need strong foundation and strong support. That's really important.
That's really good advice. Yes, creative people need strong systems and processes as well. Yes, absolutely. And look, obviously, looking back over the last year and a half and everything that you've learned, is there anything that you would do differently?
I don't know. I think I'd probably focus more on my branding, which I'm doing now, and making sure that was earlier established. I think also, while I've been blessed to have mentors and have had check-in points in the first year, doing it regularly and having that accountability so that the business is growing is really important. And I've been blessed to have Uncle Trevor and Auntie Larry, who's run a not-for-profit for the South Pacific region for quite a few years, to be able to reach out to them and have those monthly check-ins. It's really important. So,
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think, you've touched on a few times today about how important the support network is, whether it's friends and family, whether it's people aligned in business with builders and allied trades, or whether it's your mentors, which is really good. So would you say that that's been really the foundationary pillar to help you succeed, is this support that you've had?
Absolutely. Yeah, because they give you those questions of, oh, why are you doing that? Or what are we doing here? And, those sort of questions that make you think and you go, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't see it from that angle. And what are you trying to communicate? And I think those questions come out and it makes you feel like you're not crazy and you're not alone, which is a good thing.
They are very good. Yes, they are very good reminders. You're not crazy and you're not alone. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
Excellent. So you love owning a business?
I love it, yes.
It was a good decision, I'm assuming?
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So where do you see your business moving into the future?
Hopefully being able to mentor other people and growing the business to a point where I can invest in others. I mean, my mentor in Melbourne, I was 15 at the time when I met her, and Caroline Tizot is doing now what she was doing back then, which is property styling, interior design. And she inspired me to do what I'm doing now. So, yeah.
I love that. So be a mentor for others.
Yeah.
I love that. That's fantastic.
So, because you'll always be learning from the young ones, learning from the old ones. We're always evolving.
We are.
So, yeah.
And speaking of learning from the old ones, you've got development and building in the family?
Yes, yeah.
So it's in the blood?
It is in the blood, yeah. We were very blessed. Dad was adopted by an Australian family of builders. And Dad is a creative and an inventor, a programmer, and Mum was always great with the business side. She was the one that made sure the foundation was there and always made sure that there was growth happening. So I had a really great overview of how a business should operate. And so, yeah, that's been really special to sort of have that.
I love that. That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure getting an insight into you and your amazing business, which seems very people-centered and focused. And we wish you nothing but the very best moving forward into the future and into your mentorship role that you'll take on, no doubt.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you would like to say to our audience about business in general before we sign off for today?
I think just know your value, that you are important. That's something that's really important in life, and make sure that you do it. Just go for it.
Just go for it. I love that.
Yeah.
Know your value and just do it. Well, thank you, Yasmeen, for being here today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope that you have liked today's podcast, Diaries of a Business Owner with Yasmeen from Yasminne Cathy Interiors. And until next time, have a wonderful day.